DPW thing? Or?
It's a DPW thing. So, you know, so DPW has mapped out and also has a timeline for fixing sidewalks. And in addition to that, they will fix the things that are present the most liability, right? That's kind of how it works. It is sort of a capacity question of how many staff they have and what they can fit within the budget. We have been able to advance several blocks throughout District 7, again, because District 7 is so big, it's sort of, you know, taken turns. But if you give me the locations where you are most worried about, we will advance those, but definitely it is like the squeaky wheel, I'm sorry to say, you know, because it does present a liability for the city, they will want to fix those first.
Fantastic. So specific request, there is a house that's been vacant over 20 years at 7 Congo Street. It's become infested, rats and mice, which are now sharing occupancy with the houses around it. So we are very concerned. What can we do, please?
Well, so I'm not familiar with 7 Congo, I don't think. So I will look it up. Usually what happens if you have a house like that is the first thing is to call the Department of Building Inspection and have them cite. And then that kicks off a whole legal process. Is that you guys? Yeah, so I don't know if you've done this already.
I don't recall 311 so many times.
But it's more than 311, but let's connect, because 311 may or may not send it over. You need a director's order to abate, and then it can be, you know, declared blighted. And I'm not gonna lie to you that it's a quick process, but I have seen it work in other places. And then there's also the other issue of the property taxes, because in many times that's actually faster. So if the property taxes are overdue, then state law allows the city to, you know, take ownership, you know. So there's a whole other process, but DBI is the first place to go, is to get that declared a blighted property, because then it allows us to just, you know, interact. Yeah.
Fantastic. And again, the microphone's for everyone that we're streaming to. I know they can hear you fine.
We're not streaming, by the way. I'm sorry.
I beg your pardon? Oh,
We're
it's
not streaming.
interrupted at the moment? Okay. In case it's recording, people can watch it later. But one of the elements that we wanted to check on, that you've heard Supervisor Melgar say, hey, let us know. So you can liaise through your board at sunnyside.association.org goes to all of the board members at your neighborhood association. We have direct line access to Supervisor Melgar, her staff, who are phenomenal, by the way. Also, same thing with the mayor's office. I think I saw EJ Jones in here, Director of Community Affairs. EJ, you want to stand up for a moment? Or he's bringing the mayor in, I think. So. Yes, and EJ is somebody you can contact directly. If you don't know how to reach him, you can do that through the board. So again, board, BOARD, at sunnyside.association.org, and we will relay that back and act as the liaison and broker there. I had a question personally on the proprietary budget. Does that happen every year? And then is there a new, I know last time there was $400,000 available. There was a specific focus on particular elements. Can you speak to those a little bit, please?
Yes. So participatory budgeting was started by my predecessor, Norman Yee, and it was super successful. Everybody loves it. What I did is I got it baselined into the budget, which means that it's not easy to cut. So especially now that our budget deficit is there, it's, you know, a little bit harder for them to take it out because it's baseline. So what we have is, you know, plus or minus about $500,000 a year, and we dedicate half of it for Vision Zero or pedestrian safety improvements. And, you know, we've even covered other things that have to do with sidewalks too. And then the other half is for anything that improves the lives of District 7 residents. And to apply to it, you have to be a group. So it can't be an individual. It can be a church or a PTA or a neighborhood association, anything that is a group of people who want to have an idea. And then, you make it past the vetting process of, residents of District 7 who, look at all the ideas and say, oh, this is crazy, or this is a wonderful idea. And then we put it out for a vote. And there's a minimum threshold of 400 votes, and then those who get them, go on. And that's how we have done it. Last year, because we knew that there was going to be severe budget cuts, and we wanted to make sure that District 7 residents had, services that, they expect, we decided to just concentrate on the things that were the most frequent, projects that people proposed. And that was sidewalks, to whoever had that question about the sidewalks, because we know that the Department of Forestry and DPW have been, short-staffed and, they've had issues. And so we decided to put a bunch of that money in those specifically so that our project in District 7 would advance. And then the other one was playgrounds in public schools, because again, those were very popular, and we wanted to make sure that with the cuts in the school district and also, cuts to the rec park budget, that we would be able to take care of the residents of District 7. So that's why we did it. I don't think that we're going to do it as restrictive this year, because in fact, I think we could have been a little bit more flexible, but we want to keep it to the same idea that, it's budget cut, it's deficit years, and so we want to make sure that we address, those things that the district residents care about the most. So whoever had that sidewalk question, stay tuned. We did fund sidewalks in Balboa Terraces and Ingleside Terraces. So that's what they put in for, because they have the same issue. And, they're being advanced. So we could do the same in those streets going down to Monterey as was proposed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Do you want to come up to the microphone, please? Just because we're trying to make sure everyone can hear it. Yes.
Just about the sidewalks.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, Sharon Matusik at 313 Hearst. So sometimes I would get those little X's on the sidewalk in front of my house, and I would then need to fix the sidewalk. So I was wondering, how much does personal homeowners having to fix the sidewalk, get called in, or has it now become a city thing?
So for those of you who have lived in San Francisco for a long time, you may remember that then Mayor Newsom, just switched the responsibility from being the city to homeowners. And for a few years that was the case. It didn't work out as well as it was intended. So now it's back to the city with some exceptions. So we see me after, tell me which it is that you're worried about. But like sidewalks in front of municipal buildings, public schools, hospitals, also are the city's responsibility. Most of the sidewalks still are the city's responsibility, except for when you're breaking a sewer main or anything that, so it gets complicated. But if it's root issues, then it is the city, so.
So still on the topic of participatory budget, this is a little bit of information, maybe you could add a little bit more color, but District 7 is quite large. Sunnyside is one of many neighborhoods within the district. There's about 2,700 residences in Sunnyside. This group, the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association, is open to anyone in San Francisco, actually anyone that wants to visit from anywhere. But when this participatory budget process comes out, you think about West Portal, there's 7,000 residences there. So what's key is if there is an issue that you really want to get behind, promote, figure out how to generate enough actual, organic support of, it's really important to let everyone know to vote for it, because we're already at a little bit of a disadvantage with having, a third of the size of some of the other neighborhoods. Clearly, the whole community benefits when anything in District 7 gets improved. But we recently did that very thing on Monterey Boulevard, the commercial corridor. So we requested $50,000 for a mural on Monterey Boulevard, the commercial corridor. It was voted in. I think you have to be in the top 8. It was number 4 or 5. And so they just finished voting on it. Now the Arts Commission is getting involved. But again, there's other neighborhoods with more people. So the key is there, if you really want it, you need to drum up your own votes for getting that threshold of 400, as well as making sure it passes the vetting process. So if there's any other color you could add to that?
No, so the only thing that I will say is this. Despite that, Sunnyside has actually been one of the most successful neighborhoods, in District 7 in getting participatory budgeting dollars, because people are so organized and so committed, and we have really wonderful volunteers who get things done, like our mayor of Slowhurst over here, and Rosaura, who is the mayor of the Detroit Steps. So we have so many wonderful involved neighbors and volunteers. So despite the small numbers, you have been very successful because people really care about, making it better. And with that, I see our mayor, Daniel Lurie.
Yes.
So I will
round of
hand the...
applause for Supervisor Melgar.
Feels so high up here.
Come on down. Yeah.
This is way
So it's a limited court.
Okay,
So
all right,
don't
all right.
leash pull
All
there.
right, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Good, good. It's an honor to be with you. Am I just supposed to talk, or are there questions, or?
So what we're looking to do for the
Okay.
agenda is have whatever remarks you'd like to share about state of the city,
Okay.
county, for maybe 15-ish minutes, and then 15, 20 minutes for Q&A. I'll be relaying the messages that have come in from the community, and we'll freewheel as needed.
You don't want me to talk for 15 or 20 minutes. I'll do a quick thing and then let's have questions. I'd rather have a conversation and hear what's on your mind. I think one thing, Supervisor, I said this, and you appreciate this because you are a very good listener. In our roles, we don't listen as much as we would like to, because then you come to an event and like everybody's like, talk, and I'm like, no, I want to hear what's going on with you all, and I think that's what tonight's about. I will just tell you 3 things that I'm focused on that I always say, and I've said it for 2 years now, I've said it for the last 10 months as mayor. My top 3 priorities, okay? First, public safety. I just don't think anything else matters if we don't keep people safe, our families safe, our elders safe, our children safe. And so really focusing as much as possible on that. And I think our SFPD and our sheriffs, our park rangers are doing really incredible work on that front. Crime citywide is down 30%. Crime in Union Square and downtown is down 40%. And I know some people are like, why are you bringing up downtown? Well, downtown, before the pandemic, accounted for 60% of our tax revenue in the city, which funds our muni, that funds our parks, that funds our ability to deliver services to all the great neighborhoods like Sunnyside. So I didn't tell you the key stat, so it was 60%, now it's down to 40%. And so when we have this really intense budget deficit, a lot of it is from that lost revenue down there. So we really need to have that thriving. Supervisor, I just came from the tree lighting at Union Square with a lot of people. I got to push the button and light up the tree, which I've never done in my life. And it was so exciting. And Union Square, there's some good vibes happening downtown for the first time in quite some time. So that's exciting. So, but public safety, number 1. Number 2 priority, and it's a behavioral health crisis on our streets. And people struggling with mental health addiction, with drug addiction. If you check out today's New York Times, there's an article on 822 Geary Street that the supervisors and my office helped stand up. It is one of the most innovative approaches to tackling this crisis on our streets. Before this model, which has not been done anywhere in the country, you should read about it. It was jail or the emergency room for someone struggling or using drugs on the street. Now, There's 16 beds. You can be brought there by police, by fire, by paramedics. You can walk yourself in there. You can stay for 24 hours and get medication, get treatment, and then get to the right kind of treatment bed. And so 16 beds doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not as much as we would like, but it was a test, and it's working, and we want to do more of that. So read that. It's in today's New York Times, or maybe it's coming tomorrow. It came out today online. So check that out. Heather Knight, who's a reporter, has covered San Francisco for a long time. She wrote it, and she spent a lot of time on the article, so I hope you'll check that out. So really trying to get people off the street and into the right kind of treatment beds. We've still up over 500 beds since January, many of those treatment and recovery beds. And then the third priority is really helping our small businesses thrive, helping our homeowners thrive, trying to cut away the red tape that makes it so hard to do a home renovation, to start a small business, to keep a small business running. And so we really say we want to be open for business. We want to make your lives easier. We want to make our small business owners' lives easier. And we want to attract business back and conventions back to San Francisco and just say, we are once again open for business. So those are the three priorities that I talk about all the time. The numbers, every number, well, maybe not every number, but the economic numbers are heading in the right direction. Conferences, 50% more conferences this year than last year. Associated hotel bookings are up 70% this year over last year. Next year is looking even better. We have more people coming in and filling those retail spaces than leaving. I think the narrative about our city around the country and around the world has drastically improved. One number that I saw last week from a poll, when last November, we were about 28% of us in San Francisco thought we were on the right track, and 60+% thought we were on the wrong track. As of last week, 62% of San Franciscans feel like we're on the right track, and only 22% feel wrong track. So that was our first goal. The supervisors, myself, that was what we had to kind of broaden our shoulders. We had to think we had this, and we do. This is a city that has come together. The supervisors all we are working well together. We don't always agree on everything. That's okay, but there's mutual respect. We know that we're here to serve the people of San Francisco and to deliver for you, and I think we are doing that better than we have been in some time. We have a lot of work to do, no question, a lot of work to do. We have an affordability crisis in this city. We've got to get more housing built. We've got to improve our public schools. We have to make sure that Muni is safe, reliable, and efficient, and we're going to continue to push on all of those fronts. And I'm committed to doing everything in my power alongside the supervisors to make your lives better and make San Francisco not only on the rise and not get back to where we were before, but to heights that we've never seen before. And I'm telling you, we're on our way, and it feels good to be here in San Francisco and to be here tonight with you all. So I'll open it up for questions. Yeah,
1 year turnaround, that's
crazy.
really impressive. Fantastic. So with the help of past President Lisa, she's collated a lot of the questions that came in. We've organized them as best we could on a quick turnaround. But on the topic you bring with safety, in particular pedestrian safety, 2 of our neighbors have been struck and killed by cars on Ocean Avenue this year. So can you please speak to what is being done to promote pedestrian safety here on Monterey and other streets in Sunnyside and San Francisco in general, please?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say I know exactly what's going on in Sunnyside. Sorry about the noise. But here's what I will tell you. Julie Kirschbaum, who I just got off the phone with, and I have conversations every 2 weeks about what we can do to make sure that we're keeping not only pedestrians safe, but our bikers safe, our those that are taking Muni, our kids safe. We had Vision Zero. It did not accomplish what we were hoping for. I know we're talking about a new plan, a new updated version of that, and you have my commitment that we're gonna work on that. I just was downtown, as I said, I was coming. It's really buzzy.
I hear that too.
We gotta get people on scooters. We can't have them riding on the sidewalks. That is a danger. We gotta get people to slow down. I'm not gonna sit here and take credit for the speed cameras, because I know that was a lot of work by a lot of people for 10 years, but we have 33 speed cameras up around this city, and it is slowing people down. It is doing a really, really good job. What? Okay, you have one on my right, okay. It's great, right? No, so that, I don't know how, we have to go through the state to get more of them up. But I'm a big proponent of that. I think we're seeing better and people slowing down, and we've seen that in decreased speeds along San Francisco streets. So I'm all for whatever we can do to keep people safe, to slow people down, and to make sure that we're protecting our pedestrians. Did you get asked this question? Do you have anything?
Not yet, but I'm gonna follow up.
Okay, do you want to do it?
No, I don't wanna take up your time.
Come on. You and I have talked about this. I know how important it is to you.
Yeah, so on Ocean Avenue, some of you participated. 3 years ago, we had a whole planning process about improvements, and I think you've seen them. So we have improved the stops for the K. We have done a bunch of improvements at certain intersections. There's still more to come, because you remember that there's still things we left on the table, and those will happen over the next couple of years, and they're already funded. So as I said, on Monterey Avenue, there is a planning process happening right now through the Transportation Authority. It will happen, and the mayor has supported the updated plan. It's called Safe Streets now, no longer Vision Zero, that the board passed unanimously, and we have been working with the mayor's office to make sure that all of the different departments that touch it, DPW, it's not just MTA, all of the different departments do their share, including police, including fire, to make everybody safe. So thank you, Mayor, for your work.
And I appreciate you saying police, because what we also need to do when we're down as many officers as we are, they're responding to priority A calls, and we get back to a fully staffed police department, I believe then we can really start also getting back to enforcing as much as possible traffic safety. But we got to use technology in the meantime, and I think those speed cameras are one great example.
Thank you so much. I would just want to make a quick call out to our local press. I think we've got Ingleside Light, Mission Local, and Frisk. Do you guys, is the local press here? I see some in the front. Oh, yeah. Good. So thank you for coming. You're a great source of information for us. This sounds like it might be a softball, but I don't know. What is your greatest challenge that you've yet to solve for? And you talked to 60, 20, 20, 60, but what would you say your greatest success is today?
Listen, I've never been in politics before, and I'll say this. So I walked the mission in January and February a lot, and I walked the mission last night, and I saw the fencing of stolen goods last night, and worked closely with the state senator to pass this anti-fencing legislation. But I talked to him in January and February about it, and he's like, and he had tried to get it passed the year before. And we started talking about this, like we have people like selling obviously stolen property, and this is, and stolen goods. And I was told, oh, if everything goes as well and as fast as possible, 1 year from now, we'll be able to do something about it. Well, we got it passed, and I was out there at 24th and Mission last night, and we still can't enforce the law. We can start enforcing on January 1st, and we're going to. But the biggest frustration, biggest challenge is bureaucracy moves slowly. And coming from outside the political, I'm not okay with that. I get frustrated every day. I get frustrated about things that, most of you, if you have a problem, and you see it and you know what the solution is, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go solve it. Well, the supervisor and I, and her 10 colleagues, like, sometimes we know exactly what the problem is and we can't solve it. Now, I will tell you, what was so amazing is that, and this is why it's frustrating, because I know what is possible. SNAP, this federal government shutdown, cut off food stamps and the ability for people to put food on their table for 112,000 San Franciscans. We got together, unanimously passed by the Board of Supervisors. We had a fund set aside this summer, knowing that, you know, the uncertainty with the federal government could require us to step up. We put aside $400 million in reserve. We tapped it. We put up $9 million in city funding. We got a $9 million grant from Crankstart, and we were able to cover food stamps for 112,000 San Franciscans for the month of November. And we did it in days, and Trent Shop at HSA, from the time we got it approved and we knew we could do it, to the time we sent letters out to those 112,000 or 82,000 families, 112,000 San Francisco, was 7 days. 7 days. So we can move quickly if we want to, but there's a lot of times where people don't necessarily want to, and they think that, you know, everything needs to move. So maybe I would say really proud of the fact that all 11 supervisors, myself, our departments came together so quickly on that. That was a huge accomplishment. I'll share that.
Thank you so much. So, softballs are over. Here's a loaded one. This is a lot. What did you say to President Trump to get him to relent on the National Guard deployment, and what promises were made?
Second question I will answer first. There was 0 promises made, except what I said was that we're going to continue to go after those that are dealing fentanyl on our streets. And I said to him what I said to you tonight. I said, I ran on public safety. I talk about it every day. Public safety is our #1 priority, and we have to keep people safe, and we are doing that, and it's working. And I said to him that, you know, crime was down 30%, and Union Square was down 40%, and that this city is on the rise. We have, a city that has come together, and that is what I said, and I'll leave it at that, because I just use what I say every single day. I'll say it to anybody that will listen, and he listen.
Great answer. Thank you so much.
So, one of the hot topics is the zoning, family zoning. How do we maintain, especially here in District 7 and West in general, how do we maintain the neighborhood feeling while upzoning is going on? Because I think the consensus is most people acknowledge it needs to happen and many support it, but how do you keep that neighborhood feeling?
I think it's a really important question, and I think this has been a process in this city that's gone on for a number of years now. And this state mandate of every county to deliver more housing, or potential for more housing, because that's what our family zoning plan is the opportunity to build more housing. It doesn't mean new housing gets built tomorrow. It means that there is certainty in the zoning. And what we have said is, around commercial corridors and transit corridors, we should have more density. And in 77% of our family zoning map, you cannot go higher than is currently zoned, which I really believe does protect the neighborhoods and protects the character that we all know and love about all of our unique neighborhoods. Someone asked, actually, a second grader this morning came and asked me what my favorite part of San Francisco was. And I said, it's the fact that you can go to neighborhoods all over this city and get something unique, whether you're talking about North Beach, or you're talking about Chinatown, or you're talking about Sunnyside, or you're talking about the Sunset or West Portal. Like, you can go drive 10 minutes and get a totally different feel, a totally unique vibe. And that's what I loved growing up in San Francisco. It's what I love about being mayor. And this zone protects as much of that as is humanly possible, while also considering that we should not discount the fact that our kids, the people who are raising kids in this city right now, their kids can't even fathom staying in San Francisco because it's become so unaffordable. And so this idea that we would, not give our kids, not give our teachers, our nurses, our firefighters, our police officers, our social workers, our small business owners, an opportunity for and the small business owners and their workers a chance to live in San Francisco feels not right to me. Now, one more thing. This isn't like it's either the family zoning or nothing. It's the family zoning plan, or the state comes in and takes complete control. And then there goes the neighborhood. Like that is really what we are worried about, and we should be concerned about. So we are doing this the San Francisco way. We have taken a lot of great amendments from the supervisors. We are protecting a lot of rent control, like most of the rent control unit, and all of rent control is still going to be protected just as it is today. Nothing changes on that front. It's going to help our small businesses, and it's going to build more 2 and 3 bedroom units. And so I'm proud of the amendments that have been added. I'm proud about the work that we've done with the Board of Supervisors. I'm proud that we've come to the neighborhoods over and over again and had these public sessions. I've gone to people's homes and listened to people. And I remember a year ago on the campaign trail, I'd walk neighborhoods and people would be like, this residential neighborhood could have, under the plan last year, could have 8 stories, could have 12 stories. 77% of this map, you cannot go higher. And that is protecting the neighborhoods.
Great. Thank you for that. Looks like the press has a question. Do you want to come in up and use the mic? Oh, you want to please come and use the mic?
And I'm not here as a press. I'm here as a past president of this neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
So,
How are you, sir?
The follow-up, I just wanted to tell you, basically.
Please use the mic. We've got.
Is it John?
Bill.
Bill, good to see you.
I wanted to preface this by telling you just 2 little stories that are what makes this neighborhood, for me, the place that I live, because I really want to be here and I really love this place. If you out here and walk down to the corner, you will see a house that I notice now has a little fence across the front yard. When an elderly lady lived there, the yard was not maintained, not because she didn't want to maintain it, not because she didn't believe it was her civic responsibility, but just merely because she couldn't afford it. She got a summons or a citation from the city saying, you have 90 days to clean this up, or, we will do whatever we do. Why I am so proud to live in this neighborhood is when we as neighbors found out about that need, the next Saturday, there were people working in that front yard.
When was this?
It was maybe about 5 years ago. So, but the problem wasn't just the front yard. The problem was the backyard. And the backyard was not a project that volunteers could do. Somebody came up with an incredibly brilliant idea, and I have no idea who that person is, but they were brilliant. You see the goats taking away the weeds.
Yeah.
Somebody said, why not start a GoFundMe fund to fund paying for goats to come and eat the backyard of this lady's house? Well, when the goat herder came and saw the house, the backyard, he realized that it was not a 2-hour job for the goats. It was going to take several days. So somebody else had another brilliant idea, which is these neighbors paid for these goats to come. Why not let the neighbors come and watch the goats do their job? So Sunday afternoon, we neighbors who maybe never met before got together to watch the goats do a fantastic job. And, but that's the kind of neighborhood spirit that I want, because let me just preface this by one more thing and then I'll shut up. When I first came here and they were doing the development across the street from Balboa Park, they had a big community meeting and the housing advocates came and they cited this study that was actually done by the city. And it said that 1.9 cars were owned by people who owned their house versus 1.7 cars were owned by people who rented the properties. Now, I don't understand how that made a difference because it takes the same amount of space to park 1.7 cars as it does to park 1.9 cars. But in a fit of bravado, the housing advocates said that the only reason we didn't want these housing developments was that the people who would be in our neighborhood did not look like us. And that really just sort of felt like a slap across the face. It really got me to thinking because I look at the block that I live in. There is no more diverse neighborhood in this city, I don't think. I live just a block down. This is 415, I live at 215. So I realized that the problem wasn't that I didn't want people who didn't look like me. The problem was I didn't want people who did look like me. I am a gay white man. We bought a house in '97 that now you would have to add $1 million to that to be able to even be in the ballpark. So if I'm the only one that can afford it, I'm going to make it the neighborhood not look like I want it to look like, which is what it looks like now. But I know also, I'm relieved to hear what you were saying in terms of, listening in terms of the fact that 70% of it isn't going to go, well, okay, 77%, but that's still, but that reassures me because it says that you are realizing what you just said, the uniqueness of this particular neighborhood, but the uniqueness of every place in this city that we have to preserve because, 50 years ago, people came to San Francisco because it was the beacon. As a gay man, I know that why we came to the Castro. But when I came in '97 and told the realtor what I could afford, they just laughed. They said, you're only 10 years too late. But we did find in Sunnyside, which was incredibly wonderful. I mean, we found this place. It truly is. And it's the people that make it that way. And thank you for listening to me.
You want to make some comments about that, Mary? I think he was just kind of reiterating to give you some color.
I love that.
Great. So on the topic of the housing and keeping the state at arm's length, the city economist recently said the plan doesn't go far enough to keep the state at length. So we'd like to hear a little bit about your thoughts. Is this a work in progress? This is a starting point and changes? And then the rest of the question is, I love the direction of the family zoning plan. How do we get even more housing along Monterey Boulevard in Glen Park and Balboa Park stations? That's it.
Go for it.
No, so, can you all hear me if I talk like that? Is that all right? Okay, the buzzing with the, here, I don't think I'm gonna comment on the economist. That's an independent report. I understand that many different people have many different reactions. I will tell you that we do meet HCD's goal or mission, or we meet that number set by the state with the plan as it's currently constructed. So that's what we're going for, not independent, economist point of view. So we're still in line with passing this at the same level. But then I would say, once again, it does not mean that the next day housing starts getting built because the cost of construction is still incredibly high. The interest rates, nationwide are still high. And so we have to make sure that we create the conditions so that housing does get built. But I think one of the things that has been missing is the certainty, and I think this family zoning plan will help with the certainty. And I'm going to just say this, let's start with this family zoning plan and let's start getting more housing built along our commercial corridors, and let's go from there.
In the BART stations, specifically Glen Park, Balboa,
Yeah,
that's part of the vision?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we should have around transit hubs, we should definitely have more density.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Good, I know that was shared by a lot of us.
Here's a fraught question. Would you support raising taxes on the wealthy in order to fund free childcare and ensure Muni is funded?
So let me tell you, so maybe it's been reported, or maybe you haven't seen it, but I'm going to be pushing very hard on what is likely going to be a parcel tax, and we are also for San Francisco on making sure that we fund Muni. There's no economic recovery. There's no city without just an awesome Muni. And so we have a $320 million budget deficit that we're facing starting next year. I'm also working with Mayor Lee in Oakland and Mayor Mahan in San Jose on a regional measure that has been talked about. Also, that would be a potential sales tax to make sure that we fund BART, Caltrain, Muni. We need to make sure that transit works for everyone, and so that's what we're looking at.
Specifically, a tax on the very wealthy.
Those are the two that I'm focused on right now.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
So I think I know where this question came from. The Havelock Bridge is got many jurisdictional owners. I think there's fed and state and city and county and local. So how can we get multi-department coordination to get the Havelock Bridge beautified? It's been literally years of challenges. Can you help us navigate that?
Advice from you, Supervisor.
Do you want to help with that?
Come on, Supervisor. I'm phoning a friend.
Lifeline.
Where is she?
Estelle.
So, yes, the Havelock Bridge starts in District 7 and goes to District 11 over 280, which is Caltrans, and over the BART tracks, which is BART. So it
We
is,
got BART, Caltrain,
yeah.
Caltrans.
So so we've been able to do things on both ends, but the bridge itself has been mired in permitting
Okay,
issues.
okay.
Mostly it's Caltrans,
Okay.
but some of it is BART as well. So for the first time, a year and a half ago, we were able to start but not finish, negotiating an MOU with Caltrans, but we're not there yet. So it is something that we have been working on with the city attorney. I wish that the bureaucracy was a little bit easier to deal with, but it's one of these things, like 3 different bureaucracies working together can be difficult.
Thank you. This is why I'm here, to learn about
But
these
it's
issues.
better than it used to be.
Okay, all right, I would love to learn more about it, learn about the pain. This is the first time I've heard about this morass, and I'm happy to help dig into it with you. Thank you.
So the mayor's been incredibly generous with his time. We have time. There's a lot of questions left. Thank you, Supervisor Melgar, for offering to stay. One more question for the mayor. What will you and your team be doing to ensure the integrity and fiscal responsibility of our new director of Rec and Park and future fiscal sponsors?
Well, let me say, I was another moment where we were able to work with the philanthropic sector to make whole all of those small parks that were, yes, you're welcome. We were able to, raise $2 million outside to make sure that those parks and those recs and those projects that have been promised funding are going to get their full funding. And we actually, which we were just talking today about the search that is beginning, and I believe the search, I think they've hired a search firm, and we will start on January 1. But I want the best park and rec director on the planet. I think we have incredible parks. I think we have a lot of work to do. I appreciate Phil's commitment to our city over the past 2.5 decades, and I think this is just a wonderful opportunity. Not only Parks and Rec, but every one of our departments has to have accountability and fiscal responsibility built in. We came in, to the largest budget deficit in our city's history. $867 million. We made some real strides on it, but we still are looking at a $600 million budget deficit over 2 years. but we've cut it back quite a bit. And so that requires everyone to be held accountable. And it starts with me, and it definitely has to involve our department heads. You know, a lot of people, it was during the campaign and then over the 10 months, like, you got to hold the nonprofits accountable. Well, yes, we absolutely do, but we have to hold ourselves accountable. This is your money. This is $16 billion of taxpayer money. That's your money. It's not my money, it's your money. And I have an obligation and responsibility to make sure it's spent wisely. And so our department heads hold that responsibility. And we talk about it every week, which we have every week. We have a large agency department head meeting, which was not happening before we came into office. Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., we all meet. I've gone to 38 straight department head meetings on Tuesdays. Tomorrow's is, because of Veterans Day, moved to Wednesday. So we'll have it on Wednesday. And I think there's this real sense of communication and collaboration, coordination. So these department heads are now working better together, and saying, hey, I need your help on this. Because we have other morass issues where, like, you know, let's say across from the ferry building, the plaza there is Parks and Rec, it's DPW, it's MT, like, there's 4 or 5 different departments that have responsibility for making sure it's clean, it's safe, and they weren't talking to each other before. In January, we all went out and we met and we said who's in charge of making sure that this is safe and clean for our tourists and for our visitors. And now it is so much better out there because we're talking and we all have a responsibility to you all. So it's not just Park and Rec having responsibility and whatever outside group that was funding those parks projects. I think it's all of us. And so just, I hope you hear from me, like, that is a huge, huge issue. That budget deficit, we can't continue to spend money that we don't have. And so you have my commitment that we will hold departments accountable, we'll hold nonprofits accountable, and you can be well sure that I'm gonna hold myself accountable, and one thing I know is you'll hold me accountable. I'm here to serve you. It's been, the one thing I will say about this job, which I wasn't sure, I love my job. I love every single day. I love going to work on behalf of you all and serving you all. This is the city I was born and raised in. My wife and I, we have 2 young kids. They were born on the same floor at the same hospital that I was born at. So, like, this is my city. This is the job I want. I don't want any other job. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to return San Francisco to its status as being the greatest city in the world, and I don't think we're that far away. And it's an honor every day. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you to the mayor, his staff. DJ Jones is back in the room. Just a quick wave, DJ. So he is Director of Community Outreach. If you want to reach him, let me know. I'll connect you with him. He's great. With that being said, Supervisor Melgar, would you like to? Oh,
Very nice. Good.
good. So there's a lot of questions that have come in. I'm going to check in the back and see what else may have been written up. Did you want to kind of share any other thoughts?
No,
Okay. So is Lisa in line of sight somewhere? Are there more questions that have come in for Supervisor Melgar? Because I have some that I think you know more about than perhaps the mayor would. What can be done to help with the illegal dumping on Circular Avenue? The SNA organizes regular cleanups, and we never seem to get enough progress made where it feels like it's not needing cleanup anymore.
So one of the things that we have done lately that has been incredibly effective is better use of technology. So both cameras and drones have been used to, in areas where there's a lot of dumping illegally that have happened. They rolled that out in District 10, and it was really effective. So we haven't done it on Circular, but if you want it, I can work on that. Yeah? Yes. Thank you.
Excellent. So again, this is citywide, but, oh, yes, here's a board member, this is Cecilia's out.
Next Saturday 12, if you want to join circular cleanup.
Yeah, check the SunnysideAssociation.org website. All the flyers, all the information are there. I see Estelle has her hand up. Give me,
Can you just let us know whenever the drums are gonna be, so we know where you're at?
we can wave. Yeah.
I will make sure
Just
that you
repeat the
know.
question.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it was a pilot project that they used in District 10, you know, and it was really effective. So I have to track down, you know, the process by which, you know, new areas can identify. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, and I will let you know where it goes. Yeah.
Fantastic. So again, it's citywide, but the headquarter campus here in District 7, City College. Here's a quote, "This old campus needs a makeover. What can you and we together do?"
Well, I think you know that it's happening.
It is. I've seen it.
So City College was able to pass a bond 4 years ago, which is what they're using to do all of the things that you see on campus. So it's, you know, obviously cannot happen all at once, but they are sticking to their timelines and it looks great. So the student center that is now, you know, at the corner of Frida Kahlo and Ocean looks amazing, and I'm really glad that they incorporated the design of having that staircase go from the corner, because it's totally transformed from the suburban, sort of off in the hill campus to something that's more accessible. And then you saw the new art science building that also looks amazing. So what they're going to start on now is the Performing Arts Center. And the plan is, of course, to bring back the Diego Rivera mural that is being stored by the MoMA right now. But it's all going according to their timeline. They have the money, and I think they're doing a pretty good job doing all of the plans that they submitted to the state for the campus.
Was that separate from what you can do with D7? Is it its own entity, City College and its board, its
Yes.
trustees? So
So
how much can we do?
So City College is its own entity, and it is, and all of the things that happen on the campus have to be approved by the state. And they've already done that. They have a whole design. So that is separate from what is happening with the city, because you also know that the parking lot of City College that used to be owned by the Public Utilities Commission is the Balboa Reservoir. And, you know, we have our fearless leader over here who had a lot of, Lisa Spinelli, who got an award for her work on that. So, you know, that actually is going to break ground in the next 2 months. They're going to start grading everything and then put in the streets in anticipation of the housing being built there. And so that is a completely separate thing, has nothing to do with City College, but we are proceeding. But part of what's going to happen is new streets will happen, new sidewalks, new infrastructure, new trees. Most of the streets are going to be named after trees, like native trees to San Francisco, with the exception of Lee Avenue, that is going to be renamed Mayor Edwin Lee Avenue, and then Diego Street, which will intersect Frida Kahlo, of course, in front of the Performing Arts Center. So when that happens, that will be the city. You know, but it's separate.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So this was a question meant for the mayor, but it's going to involve the supervisors. It's weighty. It's an interesting question. It appears that organizing impeachments have become a go-to to reverse earlier elections. What are you, it was meant for the mayor, and the supervisors going to do to implement procedures to stop this whiplash?
Have fun.
I don't know about the mayor. There is an attempt right now at charter reform. So the reason why folks can more easily access the process of recalling people in our city is because our threshold is actually pretty low compared to other jurisdictions. And one of the things that has been talked about is, you know, just increasing that threshold to
It's like 2%
It's
now or
2%, which is very low. Other jurisdictions around us, like San Mateo County, Santa Clara County, is like 10%. And so that is why it's so easy to trigger a recall in San Francisco. And so there are some of my colleagues, not me and not the mayor that I'm aware of, are thinking about doing some kind of more comprehensive charter reform to address that issue because it is expensive. Every time somebody gets recalled, we have to trigger a special election. It's expensive for the city, but it's also destabilizing. You know, even if people are angry at a particular politician, it is, you know, a reaction based on anger, and it does destabilize the system. So there are people working on it.
So there is a very in-depth article in the Chronicle about the charter being worked on, for anyone interested there. I was fascinated by it, I learned a lot. And it's a good read. On the topic of Rec and Park, again, it was geared toward the mayor, but these are parks in your District 7. The Sunnyside Rec Center, Sunnyside Playground, has not been made available to residents to reserve events. We've, as a community, have engaged with the Department of Rec and Park. Months ago, they said they would work it out so that permits could be requested and issued. Still hasn't happened, no date is coming. What can we as citizens do when we've been told it's coming and don't see any progress?
No, we should do a letter of inquiry, like a formal letter of inquiry. I did not realize that this was going on or that they hadn't given a, you know, formal date. So I can do that actually next Tuesday. So let's do that, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
And then still in Rec and Park, yes, I know, that's near and dear to us in Sunnyside.
Who's doing that? Who's working on this? Okay,
And on the Rec and Park, you know, there's 40,000 residents in San Francisco that have become Emergency Response Team trained, NERT. Rec and Parks is talking about withdrawing their participation to allow staging at parks. They said it's for recreation only. My understanding from the mayor's office, with the help of EJ, is Rec and Park are now being tasked with finding places to do the staging for an emergency, for a disaster. Are you familiar with this at all, or is it something you can speak to? Because it ties into you helping us get a participatory budget freed up from 7 years ago of $25,000 that has yet to be spent because there's nowhere to put the supplies once they're bought.
So I am familiar with his argument that Rec and Park has made that their land can only be used for recreational purposes. However, that argument is actually false when you look at what their land is being used for now. So for example, part of Rec and Park land is being used by the Army for recruitment facilities, for example. So, you know, this is something that historically has been available to NERD and also other community groups as well. They're not the only ones. I don't know that they actually can make that decision on their own.
Because the mayor appoints the commissioners
Correct.
of Rec and Park that establish policy, right?
Yes, and so it is not, you know, a policy that anyone has voted on. There's nothing, so I don't think that's the end of it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
And we will have a new director.
Yeah, any timeline of that? Is it this year, next year?
It's up to the mayor.
Understood. Best guess, next year?
I mean, I think
Hopefully, I hope it's sooner than that, actually, because it's a really large system, and there's not just, you know, parks, there's all kinds of programming that happens through the parks. They're one of our largest summer, you know, program providers in the city, so it's a lot.
Excellent. Okay, same question the mayor had, it's a double. In the time you've been in office as a supervisor, your greatest challenge that remains to be solved and the greatest success to date, please.
So the greatest challenge that still remains unsolved is affordable housing. So San Francisco, so my background before I became supervisor, I came from an affordable housing background. I worked for 7 years for Mayor Gavin Newsom at the Mayor's Office of Housing. We have no money for affordable housing, despite it being our greatest need. We also have no infrastructure. So compared to New York, that has like a department of housing development and preservation, we have a dinky little office under the mayor's office that only does lending. They don't do policy, they don't do homeless policy, they don't do like a lot of things, right? Whereas the Department of New York does everything from homelessness to homeownership. And so I think that that is the biggest challenge. I think that, I've had a hard time convincing folks in the city that we need more and that we need to be serious about this, that we need a source of funding that is stable and not just one shot. Somebody builds a building and pays you a little bit of money, or somebody, puts a bond and then we all spend it and then there's no more money. So we need something stable for next generation. I think my greatest thing that I'm most proud of is actually free muni for kids. That was my legislation. And we did it when the kids were getting back to school after the pandemic. It really helped decrease absences in our public school system. But I think it also has transformed the way that kids get around town. It's given them freedom, and I'm very proud of that, and they told me they love it. So we're going to work to keep it.
Fantastic. Well, I think Supervisor Miller has offered to stay a bit later. There is a little bit of association business. Can we have one more very warm round of applause? Our favorite and I'll make a couple of brief announcements on the NERD safety program. This Saturday, November 15th, NERD and the San Francisco Fire Department providing free first aid training. Free, you get certified, you can't go wrong with this. If you want details, again, board at sunnysideassociation.org. There's some other housekeeping we need to do. Vice President John, did we get streaming questions in? Anything in the chat that?
We did not have the stream tonight. We've been recording and
Okay.
we'll upload it later. But
Okay. So my last plug, as board member at large and membership director, anyone in the room here that is not yet a member of the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association, please consider membership. It's $20 a year for a household. It allows us to do things like get you access to our leaders, get access to police chiefs and fire chiefs and commissioners and supervisors. Also, picnics in the park and concerts at the conservatory and egg hunts and pumpkin carts. We do a lot, and we just need a little bit of help for postage mailings. This is all a nonprofit. It's actually tax deductible, I believe. We're a 501c3. So if you're not a member now, it's $20 per year. Next year it'll be $30. So if you want to sign up for 2 years, this would be the time to do it. You turn over to our president, Brian Smith.
I'm not a member of the minority. We've now got the QR code for joining. It's at the table where our Secretary Margaret is by the door. So you can take a picture of the QR code. It'll take you right to a Zelle site to join. I think you can make a note of who you are when you do this. Sometimes we get donations and we don't know who it is, and we thank you for that, but we'd like to record you there. We've got a couple of things coming up that you may want to be involved in. As Cecilia, another board member, mentioned, we have our final Clean and Green for Circular Avenue. That's coming up this Saturday between 10 and noon. And you can sign up at sunnysideassociation.org. And as part of the gratitude, we'll even be serving donuts, I think. So if you have a hankering for that this Saturday morning, and register online. There's also, we have a monthly meet and greet of the board. If you just want to be able to hang out with us more casually, we're going to do that at 9 a.m. at Railroad Espresso. And that's on the 22nd, I believe. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. So we just hang out there and have coffee, and anyone that wants to join us is welcome, and we have more intimate conversations. The Detroit Steps has a cleanup maintenance day, and that's happening on Saturday, the following Saturday, November the 30th. Sunday, thank you. Sunday, November the 30th, that's also 10 to noon, and you can hang out on the Detroit Steps. We focus primarily on the lower Detroit Steps. For those of you who may not have noticed yet, and thanks in no small part to Tad Sky, our artist in residence, the maintenance of the upper Detroit Steps is now completed. And it honestly couldn't have happened without Tad, without Rosaura, with other members of the DSP steering committee. So thank you all for all the efforts you've done. It really makes a difference in going up those stairs. And the local artists that have contributed their talent is amazing. So you have to see it for yourself and see if you can, how many creatures you can identify. It's really quite an amazing thing. We have our holiday party, as Michael mentioned, coming up. And that's happening on Sunday, December 7th, so we got a lot of activity. That's happening at the Sunnyside Conservatory, and it's going to be between 2 and 5. And it's going to be featuring a very talented group of musicians called the Hearst Avenue All-Stars. And we'd really like to see you there. There's no charge, but it's going to be a potluck this year, so we'd like people to bring their favorite dishes and drinks. We'll have some drinks and such, but we'd appreciate any volunteers that have some special dish that they'd want to share. So I think that that's all the announcements I have. I wanted to also thank the Slow Hearst people for having a successful Halloween event this year. It went really well. It was a nice block party. So what we have in terms of business is we're changing our bylaws. And Michael mentioned earlier that our dues are going up from $20 to $30, for example. We have some other minor changes that we need to make to our bylaws as an organization, just to bring them up to date. We haven't updated our bylaws for a long time. So we're going to have a vote right now, and anyone that's actually a member of Assn can vote. Dues paying member, yes. But I'm going to introduce Margaret Hosel, our secretary, because she is going to conduct the election as our resident attorney.
And I'm not providing legal advice, just for the record. So I was reading Robert's Rules of Order, and as one does, and I thought we could do a vote by acclamation so we can get everybody out of here. So if you're a dues-paying member, your household gets one vote. So if you disagree with somebody else in your household, talk amongst yourselves. Yes, John?
Can you just go real quickly with the changes were?
Changeover?
The changes in the bylaws?
Well, we've done this for like a year now. So the main change is the raising of the dues. We also updated the bylaws to make it so that we can enter the internet age. We can have Zoom, for example, meetings if COVID comes back or whatever. We changed the address of the neighborhood association, so it's no longer a physical address, it's like in the internet ether. That's about it. Any other changes I'm missing? Anybody?
It's posted on the website.
Yeah, we've posted it for more than 30 days now. This is our third time trying this. So I really hope you acclimate. Without further ado, anybody voting no? Anybody voting yes? Woo! Unanimous acclamation. A rare condition at Robert's Rules of Order. So thank you very much. And back to the president.
We are almost ending early. Can you believe that? I'm sorry to say we don't have a raffle tonight, but we didn't need it to get you all here. I believe that Supervisor Melgar is hanging out in case you want to speak to her one-on-one. And just to thank you all for making the time to come and help us all get to know each other and make our neighborhood a better and a safer place. So thanks for coming.
I recorded it. I recorded it.
I think so.